And like in the military, if you wanted to do anything like that, you had to get approval. So it's just nice to like feel like I could just go do whatever I want again, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the I've no I got zero like understanding of the military. Like I feel like like the military culture in America is so much more common that like most people probably know stuff like that. Like I know nothing about what goes on in the military and like what you have to do and what you have to go through. Like you do your training. Do they send you like overseas? Were you like in America the whole time?
so so specifically I joined because I wanted to do search and rescue. Like I didn't want to go kill people. You know, like I didn't want to join the military and like deal with all that stuff because I knew people who went and did that. Like I could tell they were just different after that, you know, and I didn't
Yeah.
want that. And my stepfather was in the Coast Guard. And it's funny because over here they kind of like joke around like the Coast Guard's not real military, but like we wear uniforms, we go through boot camp, like we do weapons training, all the same stuff, just not as extreme because you know obviously we're not going to like war. But the funny
Yeah.
thing is though is like we've been in every major war, like our branch of the military, we always drove boats and stuff. But yeah, no, it was interesting because when I first got in, you don't really have a choice of where you're going or what you're doing. They just throw you somewhere, and it's like, all right, you know, survive until you get to go to the school you want to. And I
Mhm.
wanted to go do helicopter stuff, and that's a very hard job to get. So it was a long wait, and so I was on a boat, and we went down south, and I mean, I went all over Mexico, El Salvador, Puerto Vallarta, like all kinds of stuff down there, all the way down to Panama. And so it was interesting because you know, it being very low rank in the military, I was broke. I didn't have like money to like spend. Like I literally saw friends just spend their whole paycheck. You know, like they needed like money to like get a taxi back to the boat. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
But I was obviously a little better with my finances. But yeah, no, you go to boot camp, you know, and I went like 2 weeks out of high school, so it was really like you know I was working at the movies because like I said, movies has always been something I cared about, and so I was working at the movies, put in like my 2 weeks notice, went to boot camp. They flew me across the country. They put you on a bus, and everybody's talking crap like, oh, this ain't gonna, you know, it's gonna be a piece of cake, and then they just, I mean, they break you down. They
Yeah.
test how well you can handle stress because you know you're gonna have all this responsibility. People's lives are gonna be in your hands, and if you break under that pressure, people are gonna die. And so
Yeah.
they make everything act like it's the end of the world. Like if your shoes aren't tied right, you're screwed. Like you're gonna go run
Yeah.
laps, you know, everything. And like I saw people have like mental breakdowns, and I think we started out with like 125, 130 people, and when I left, there was like 60 something or 70 something. So like half of
So
the
yeah, a
people are
lot of
gone.
people wash out.
Yeah. And like my boot camp was not as much physical as it was mental. There was a lot of stuff you had to memorize, and like they would call you out like when you're getting food at the galley, and if you didn't know it, like like you were screwed, man. Like they would literally send you to they called it ramp, and I can't remember what it stood for, but they I feel like I'm getting really into the weeds about it. But like the first night we were there, like they like demonstrate to you like what you're gonna become. And so like the first night we were there, these people come in just chanting like ramp, ramp, like robots, and they're holding this little like raft full of bricks with life jackets on, and they just look miserable. And they like walk through our squad bay and like do a lap around the football field, and we're just like, what is that? We have no idea, you know. But what happened is if you got in trouble while everybody's going to sleep, you would have an extra like hour and a half of like wasted time doing push-ups, carrying around this raft, holding your gun, you know, doing this and that, like all this stuff to just tire the shit out of you so that you wouldn't mess up again.
Yeah.
And I went to that once because my pants fell down during a uniform inspection. But yeah, no, man, it's crazy looking back at it because it was only 8 weeks, but when you're there, it feels like forever, you know?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah,
you're
it's a long
always
8 weeks.
you
Yeah.
always have eyes on you, and you're always doing something, and you know somebody's gonna look at what you're doing. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if I'd be cut out for that. I'm so scatterbrained. Like even when they're just like, you have to remember a bunch of stuff. I'm like, oh, I'd be done. I'd be done right there. I've
and it
like,
was such meaningless stuff too. It'd be like, what was the name of the boat that sank in 1782? This and that, and you know, like there's only one answer, but like people would get it mixed up with something, and they would be
yeah,
confident that it was right, but then when they told them they were wrong, you just saw them like, oh, I'm screwed up. You know, like when my
Yeah.
pants fell down, they told me that I was going to be moved to like a company that was like a few weeks behind, and I had just booked my parents had just booked their plane tickets, and like I mean it was super expensive to get refunds for tickets at that time, and so like I was just like, oh bro, I screwed up, you know. But I'd never gotten in trouble before, so they're like, oh, we were just trying to scare you, and like you're so close to
Yeah.
graduating that you know like we didn't want you to have to like get sent back, you know. But
Yeah. That would be
I
that I can't even imagine thinking you're almost done, and then they're like, "Yeah, you
two more
go back."
weeks.
Yeah, you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
"What? 2 more weeks?" Fuck
I
no.
actually thought to myself, I was like, bro, I might just quit. I was like, I don't know if I
Yeah.
want to do 2 more weeks. Like, this is hell, you know? But it's funny looking back and thinking like everything they had you do had a purpose, you know? Like they would literally sit there for 2 hours and have you take your life jacket on, or put your life jacket on, take it off for 2 hours, just standing there,
Yeah.
you know? And if you didn't do it fast enough, you're like the last one to do it, do push ups, you know, until you're not the
Yeah.
one doing it like that anymore. And then, like, my first day on the boat, like out at sea, we had a drill and, like, boom, everybody's got their life jackets on in like 2 seconds. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what it was for. You know, like everything had a reason
Yeah.
behind it, you know? It's crazy.
That makes sense. No, like they've been doing it for so long, and if there's anything America does well, it's military. You guys have military figured out very, very well. And so like it makes sense that they would have like you think they're doing these things just to grind you down, but they there's a structure to it. There is an
Yeah.
absolute structure to it. I'm kind of interested in like some of the stuff that they don't reveal. Like when you get deep level military, like if you get to go see Area 51 and stuff, they got laser cannons or something in there.